All right, hey VC, how you doing? My name is Jamie, and back with another video. For this one, it's kind of unusual vinyl finds, or at least unusual for me, stuff that's kind of off the beaten track. Pretty happy to come across some of these vinyl finds. And yeah, so we'll take a look at those. And I've got one CD in my pile here. And before we get to that, I should say hello to Steve Carlson at the Vinyl Community with Steve Carlson. And Steve, thank you so much for the shout out. I am honored to be one of the crazy Canadians on your vinyl community list. Thank you so much for that honor. Okay, let's get to our vinyl finds. First off, we've got the soundtrack to the film All This and World War II. This film came out in the early 70s, and the film kind of, I think, lasted about a day or a week in movie theaters, and it pretty much bombed. The premise of the film, I have never actually seen it. I've seen trailers and various clips. The premise of the film basically uses black and white footage from old movies and World War II footage, all put together to the music of the Beatles. Yeah, needless to say, it didn't prove very popular for moviegoers at the time. It's a rather odd concept. You can see trailers for the film. It's a little different. I've never actually seen the whole film. I guess it does get occasionally shown at midnight screenings or repertory cinemas and whatnot. So it features the music of Lennon and McCartney. It's not the Beatles, but there are artists covering the Beatles music, and there's no George Harrison or no Ringo Starr music. It's Lennon and McCartney, but this is a double disc, and it is an amazing list of artists on this. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I'll take it out of the shrink here. Hopefully you'll be able to. I know we've got a bit of glare from the light, but there is quite the list of artists. As you can see, Elton John with Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds. Of course, he would have a big hit with that. Feature that on his Greatest Hits Volume 2. Interesting, you have the Bee Gees. Again, this came out like in the early 70s, and then the Bee Gees would then later do the movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which would also be an unsuccessful film. Great soundtrack, but unsuccessful film. Sorry about the bit of the glare there, but let's see if we can get... But it's just an amazing... Even Peter Gabriel is featured on here. This is a couple of tracks on the Bee Gees. Hopefully Leo Sayer. Status Quo, in the Four Seasons, Ambrosia. Who else is on here? Henry Gross, Frankie Valli, Tina Turner with Come Together, Keith Moon, Roy Wood, Brian Ferry. Like it's an amazing list of artists, and it's a great soundtrack. So it does include the poster. We'll take a look at that. So I was pretty happy to get that. And this is not a reissue. There you have what the gatefold looks like, and then it's got the full lyrics on the sleeves, like that. Pretty nice, and this came out on the classic Warner Brothers label. And then I'll show you the poster as well. And the poster features all of the artists. If you're able to see that, Peter Gabriel, Keith Moon. Yeah, an unusual concept for a film. Black and white, World War II footage, old movie footage, to the music of Lennon and McCartney and the music of the Beatles. Yeah, needless to say, not a big hit. Movie theaters. But again, it's one of those, not a great movie, but an amazing soundtrack. And how many of those are out there? For sure, lots. Okay, here's another, at least an unusual find for me. This is a Jimi Hendrix album. This came out on the Shout label in the early 70s, I think 1972. This is called Jimi Hendrix in the Beginning. And this features work from 1966 with saxophonist Lonnie Youngblood. So it's kind of Jimi Hendrix stretching out a bit before, of course, he would get into 1967 and Are You Experienced. Overall, it's a very jammy album, but it's good overall. It's pretty well recorded, and this was in Canada, distributed by GRT, which did the Lighthouse Records and among many others. But yeah, kind of a neat cover, and on the Shout label, kind of cool. But yeah, just think that's kind of a neat cover. All right. King Crimson Discipline. For me, this is a promo copy on Warner, and I think it's missing the inner sleeve. As I recall, King Crimson did have an inner sleeve with the lyrics, but it does have the raised lettering and whatnot. So, again, on the Warner Brothers EG label by the old gold stamp promo. So that's kind of fun. I do always enjoy that. Okay, the CD. I don't know if I've shown this. I did pick this up just at... I think it was Value Village recently. This is a Kiss Psycho Circus, but it's the fun cover. Gives you sort of that, I don't know, a 3D effect, if you will, which is kind of fun. And listened to the album before. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. Very well recorded. It's really kind of nice big sound, produced by Bruce Fairbairn. The first 5 songs I kind of like. By the time you get to the rest of the tracks or side 2, I kind of lose interest. But Psycho Circus I do like. I still really do like that song. And certainly the Ace Frehley track Into the Void's a lot of fun. Peter Criss barely featured on the album, as is Ace Frehley, and in fact they barely play on any of the tracks as far as I understand. So yeah, it was one of those typical, the Kiss reunion albums, still plagued with lots of problems or issues, but it's kind of fun to get the cover, and then inside, whoa, then you take that out, and then you get that as well on the inside, which is kind of cool. And there you go. So kind of fun to get that. Overall, not a bad album, but not a great album. Not the album maybe that it could have been. Okay, I had seen this album featured, Rob from Vinyl 79 had featured this, and this was in an antique warehouse, a local antique warehouse store that I thought was a little overpriced, but they're actually now going out of business, so a lot of their stuff is like 40 to 50% off, so I finally bit the bullet and got a fairly good deal on it. This is a Canadian band called the Sugar Shop. And really fun, nice harmonies, very much in a Mamas and Papas style. And it's interesting that here they're introduced as the West Coast #1 drummer Hal Blaine introduces the Sugar Shop. And Hal Blaine passed away just recently. But it's really nice harmonies, really very much in a Mamas and Papas style. This was their only album. And I don't know if you recognize this guy here, but this is actor Victor Garber, and Victor Garber was featured in the movie Titanic. He was also featured in the movie Alias. He was born in London, Ontario, and Canadian group. So yeah, in his early days, he was part of the Sugar Shop. Victor Garber, kind of nice. Okay, I'll show you the inside here. And yeah, all these individuals are like 22, 24. Just kids. And then on the classic Capitol label with the rainbow label. Okay, there you go. And one more that's not necessarily an unusual find, but for me it was like, haha, one of those haha moments, shall we say. Picked this up for a decent price. This is Stevie Wonder's, of course, Songs in the Key of Life. Double album, absolute Stevie Wonder masterpiece, came out in 1976, and I remember certainly as a young kid watching the Grammy Awards, and it seemed like every Grammy Award went to Stevie Wonder, and the Grammy goes to Stevie Wonder for Songs in the Key of Life. Again, well deserved, just a fantastic album. Now this is must be a slightly later issue or a Canadian issue. I don't think it initially had that up in the corner, but it says collector's album includes 2 records, something extra bonus record, 24-page lyric booklet. So looking at it in the record shop, it's unfortunately split up at the top. We've got the, oh, sorry, that's my clock there. Sorry about that. And it's got that, and it does have the booklet included, which I didn't know came with this. So this is a full lyric booklet here, like that, and it's just basically all the lyrics, that sort of thing inside. So that's very nice. And then this also includes at least original sleeves. Now I don't know if these are original labels, because those are the sleeves, but I don't know if this is a later pressing or the Canadian Motown label. I don't think that's the original one. As I recall, it was Tamla. But yeah, so that's very cool. Now, when I picked this up at a decent price, it didn't include the bonus EP. And picked this up and was paying for it, realizing that actually I have the bonus EP which is I had it at home because I had picked it up on one of my videos. I show a box of 45s that I picked up as part of like it was a Facebook advertised sale, and they came with a box of 45s, and this was in the box of 45s. So I already had this. So this is the bonus EP that's included. So it wasn't with this disc being for sale, but I picked it up at a decent price knowing that I also had the EP at home. So now the package is complete. The EP has been reunited or united with the double album. So for me, that was a nice thrill. And what a great album. Oh, fantastic. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for dropping by, and we'll chat again really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.